right, welcome everybody to episode number 2 of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan,
I'm Mark.
and we can do this all day. But today's special little episode that we have is going to be our Heroes or Zeros of the MCU. Mark, can you kind of talk a little bit as to why we chose this one?
I think that we've had many discussions around favorite or top, and that has evolved throughout the time that Marvel has continually released new and in some cases better content. Through the years. I think the date is important to mark. We're recording this in January of 2022, post Spider-Man No Way Home, which those of you that listen to episode 1 would be aware of that. But I think that we've gone back and forth on this, and I think that we both have very strong opinions in both areas. So I think that it's just a fun topic, and it's not just one movie, it's all of them. And I think that we both have spent so much time absorbing content that it's good to use the full gamut.
Absolutely, and I 100% agree. And I think with the thing that was very interesting for me is as I was compiling our list, which kind of the criteria for the heroes and the zeros is their character or lack thereof, their abilities, and almost like their hero moments, like those big impact wow moments in the MCU, whether it was from the TV shows or the movies. I based it off of everything up to date. Mark, you just watched the last movie that you just needed to catch up with last night, which I have a feeling some of those characters might end up on our list.
You never know. You never know.
I think I do know on
I
this one.
will say, the one thing I will say is I'm glad I waited till it came to Disney Plus. You did not make that choice.
That's right. That's right. So let's just jump right into it because I bet some people are eager to hear what that is. But let's go into the zeros, and let's go for our. I guess it doesn't really matter which. If you have, do you have them ranked from?
I ranked.
You ranked.
I ranked.
Okay.
And ranking was hard because there's a few honorable mentions for zeros in there too.
So
for me,
let me clarify too. So like your number, we're doing 1 through 5. Is number 5 the most hero-ish of the zeros?
yes,
Or vice versa?
yes,
Okay.
I would say that. And I want to say that when I mentioned honorable mentions, I want to say that there's people that I left out of this rank because of the lack of just overall effect one way or another that they had. They're just kind of blahs. I'll give you 2 examples of my blahs. Pepper, glowing magic Pepper, and Drax. Both of those are in my blahs because Pepper's an unresolved storyline that they forgot about, and Drax is just like funny, but there's not a big needle move between high highs and low lows. And I appreciate the high highs and the low lows. I was going to say, do you have any insight to your rankings? Because this for me is all about feel.
Yeah, so as I was going through all this stuff, all I could think about was how much I enjoyed these characters. Some of them, like, I could totally relate to. Some of them I would be like, dude, I would be buddies with that character right there. But in the grand scheme of things, it was, are they really a hero? And would I be like super thrilled if like this person came out to save the day for me? If anything, I might just be like, like kind of one of those things like, oh, it's not the Avengers or the X-Men, it's the Great Lakes Avengers, if you're familiar with those people. So but all right, let's get right into it. And I'm gonna go right into one of my picks. And because you actually talked about it as an honorable mention, and that's Drax. Okay, so Drax was one of my biggest disappointments as a character, but I also really, really enjoyed him. because he was funny, he's goofy. The whole literal sense was like really comical, and I think I probably chuckled and laughed um, about him, or some direct influence from him throughout the Guardians movies, and even in Infinity War and Endgame as well too. But let me throw it out there as to why. His powers are strength and durability and being an idiot. Like that's his power, is being a flat out idiot. And I don't know, man. For a hero, if I was going to put him on a hero team, that would be like the guy that stays back and makes sure the house is clean and is in order while we're going out to save the day. Like that's my opinion of Drax. So that's one of my picks. Any thoughts on that?
I don't think idiocy is a superpower.
Well, I mean, it's not, and that's why he's on that list of being a zero.
I've got. I'll give you my number 5 in the 5 through 1 that I ranked on the superhero. We can kind of compare a little bit as to why this person I felt like worse hero than Drax, and it's Wong.
Okay.
And let me tell you why. Wong is constantly unaccountable for the things that just kind of go on. He let Strange do whatever he wanted in the first Doctor Strange movie, right? Super gullible. Gullibility, is that a superpower? I don't know. And then he's the reason that the entire No Way Home plot happens. He's the Sorcerer Supreme, and he's like, yeah, whatever, do your thing. I'm gonna go cage fight. Right? Like, not a hero thing. Not a hero thing.
Okay.
So that is why. His efforts to save, they're there, but he's like not really useful.
Can I tell you as to why he might be one of the most important superheroes? He's not on my list.
I would love that. I feel like we're gonna have that argument twice in my bottom 5.
Okay, so one of the reasons why I feel like he is the biggest hero, one of the biggest heroes, not on my list, clarify, is because he helped Strange get all of those heroes, the Ravagers, the Avengers, the Wakandans, all the different tribes, to the Avengers compound in Endgame. Strange couldn't have done it all by himself.
There were many sorcerers, though.
There were many sorcerers, but he trusted Wong to be his second to get that. And it's a very short amount of time to get all of those people back there. It's a bigger feat than, without that, they would have been screwed, man. They would have been screwed. Do you disagree?
I do disagree, because Wong basically was a supporting ring wearer in there. I feel like Ned could have served that purpose.
All right. Well,
because Ned's magic. Don't forget, Ned's magic.
That is magic, and that's perfectly fine. But Wong, I thought, is still. But you're right, though. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a hero per se. But yeah, okay. I don't completely disagree, but I'm just saying that's a pretty big heroic effort to bring all those people in that short of a time frame to understand, hey, get all these people. It's going to be the end all be all of all battles. It's do or die. Get these people here. And when Strange asked him, is that everyone? Like, Wong was like, what the hell, bitch? Like, I got everybody here. And so that's how I took that and interpreted that.
I mean, that could be payback for the sandwich that he bought him earlier in the movie before that.
Hey, man, theoretical dollars. All right. So going on to my next pick. This one might be a little bit controversial. And actually, you know what? I'm going to save that for the last one. But the next one is going to be Ant-Man. All right. So Ant-Man is one of my picks because the Wasp is better than him at every single thing. So it renders him completely useless, other than the fact that he can turn himself into a freaking giant. Wasp can do everything better, fight better. She can fly by herself without the aid of flying ants, which always happen to get killed, by the way. So all of his flying ants, like it's his fault that they all die.
But the flying is the aid of the suit. So really, it's Hank Pym's fault that the Ant-Man can't fly.
Yeah, but it's still once again rendering him useless in
I
comparison
must say
to the Wasp.
I must say that I don't think he's that useless because without Ant-Man, they wouldn't have been able to have a time heist. And then no Endgame at all. Wong has no hero moment, and the entire MCU is half in the bag.
Incorrect. And it's incorrect because it was sheer coincidence that a rat stepped on a button in a van in a storage area that he came back.
You mean
sheer
Mickey?
Coincidence.
Mickey the Mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bigger hero, if anything.
He might be in my top 5. You never know.
And by the way, I like Ant-Man a lot. That's the guy that I could be like, I can hang out with him. Like, I would love to hang out with Ant-Man all the time. He made up a little cardboard maze for his daughter. Adorable. Being a parent myself, yeah, love it. But hero, no.
So I have a controversial pick at number 4, who I would say is much less of a hero than Ant-Man, because Ant-Man actually fought against Thanos. But you know who didn't? You know who didn't fight against Thanos? And I would say is a much more skilled combatant than Ant-Man. May have been trained for many, many years. Many, many years. And you know what he did? You know what he did? Nothing. Think you know who I'm talking about.
It's a he?
It is a he. He has this amazing red hooded sweatshirt that his mom made him for his final battle. Yeah, no, Shang-Chi. Worst. The worst. Okay. Not the worst. My number 4 out of top 5 worst. Because he's useless. Unless he goes to Magic Fantasyland.
That's incorrect.
I think that's correct across the board. All of those statements are truth.
Grossly incorrect. I will get to that in a little bit, but do you want to? But oh God, I feel sick right now. Do you want to liberate a little bit more? Because I need to take a break and kind of cool down while I.
There's a handful of people that do nothing when the entire world is on the line. That guy's one of them. And he was in New York for multiple Avengers level threats. Multiple.
Okay.
Nothing.
I will.
Haley Seinfeld decided that she wanted to shoot a bow and arrow to help. This guy, nope.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Right, I'll drive people's cars. That pick. I'll take that pick. I will digest it. The Filipino American, Asian American in me just is a little bit hurt right now. But we'll go on to the next pick.
I want to apologize because I seem very racist with my list so far, and I'm far from it. But I feel like
I wasn't gonna say it, but
I kind of feel bad. I'm looking at my list, and it's not good for this. Is not good.
Oh no!
Oh shit!
Oh no! I think we might have a problem here.
I already complained about Pepper.
So Pepper was actually one of my picks as a honorable mention for a hero. Not that I really liked her, but I don't know. I'll get to that in the hero section. But all right, I'm gonna have a more, in my opinion. I understand where you're coming from. You weren't a huge fan of that particular movie for Shang-Chi, but this one might be very controversial. And you had me, like, I thought we were, when you said controversial pick, I thought like, oh my God, we've got the same pick. Nope. But when you said he, it's like, uh-oh, wait a second, what the hell happened? So mine is a female. The deadliest of the females supposedly in the Spider Kingdom, but Black Widow. She is on, yes, on my bottom of the list for the zeros. So I've got some notes here because I wanted to make sure that, like, once again, I actually liked Black Widow. She was a badass. She was a great fighter, but she had a hero sacrificial death, right? It was really noble of her to jump off a cliff and trick Clint to say that, you know, she was going to sacrifice herself. But Clint was going to do it anyways. So that kind of negates the hero factor right there, because I'm like, well, yes, that's noble of her, but Clint could have done it. So I'm going to call it a wash right there. Okay. She was not there for the battle of Thanos, obviously. But she kept her past a secret to everyone except for Clint. So here's my problem with that. Mark, we're friends. You know, I would consider us, you know, like, I would never lie to you if I didn't have a reason not to lie, right? I mean, that's pretty, you know, like, I'm not gonna just come up with like some lie that doesn't really matter, but she did. So not only did she flat out lie to Cap, you know, in Endgame, she's saying, like, you know, before the Avengers, I had nothing. You know, she said literally, like, family for the Avengers. She didn't say she had a family before. She said she had nothing. All right. So even her fake pseudo family, who she cared about, apparently. So that right there is liar. Big problem for me. And that is a very big quality of a hero, is being truthful, but lying. It doesn't, you know, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you, Black Widow, that you lied to Captain America of all people. You could have told him that you had a family. You could have told him that you were a family full of killer spies, but no, you didn't. Not only that, but also in Civil War, you held back important information detrimental to people's safety in Winter Soldier. Cap was very upset. And when Cap's upset, I'm upset. So that was my big problem. A lot of it is just the whole character thing. But also,
can I ask you what Cap was upset about?
So he was upset that she went off on her own during a mission, and without her in the spot that she was supposed to be, it put the mission in danger, which in turn put him in danger, and also put the Hydra agents, which he didn't know were Hydra, in danger as well too. But to him, not knowing the better, he wanted to make sure that everyone was doing their job on the mission, staying alive, like the Bee Gees.
But she was doing her job.
She was doing her job in secrecy, and not, it was basically a covert mission within a covert mission.
It was need to know information, and Cap didn't need to know. That's Fury's decision, not hers. You got to respect the chain of command. He's only a captain. He's not an admiral. He's not Major America. He's not General America.
He's just a captain. Is Major America. He's General. He's just a captain. America. But my big thing about that is soldiers just do what they are told. You know what?
Which is what she did. She did what she was told.
There was a group that also did that were very detrimental to the survival rate of Jews. You know who those were, Mark? The Nazis. So I'm not
telling me Black Widow was a Nazi. Is that where you're going?
I'm just saying, by that rationale, a soldier just does what a soldier does. That is, sorry.
I don't think anybody got put in a gas chamber on that boat. And I'm pretty sure that without that data that she retrieved from that boat, I don't think that what happened at the end of the movie would have happened. Without that flash drive, everything would have been lost.
Sure. But either way, it's
sorry to pick your nits.
It's the character being shady and being a liar. You can't say that she's not a liar. She's a flat out liar. Flat out liar.
We'll debate that. We'll debate that. Speaking of shady characters, I got my number 3, and it's very clear for me. He has many names, not many, but they changed the name throughout. They changed it to a lamer name. They also changed the actor in the MCU, which,
Okay.
both of them did shady business, right? But I'm gonna go. My number 3 is War Machine, Iron Patriot, whatever you want to call him, whatever you want to call him. Shady business for you. He stole the Mark One or the Mark Two suit and just gave it away. Stole a private citizen's property and gave it and took it as part of the government. You know who else did that? The Nazis. The Nazis. He also created agreements with the enemy. He worked with Justin Hammer.
He did.
Not very hero-y. Going
True.
behind the
And
back. Going behind the back.
I don't disagree. However, so I will say, like, I think War Machine's actually underappreciated. So he was like crucial in the Battle of Wakanda in Infinity War. That guy lit up so many of those like Thanos's like creatures. I can't remember what their names are, but like he was lighting them up. He literally he was a one man perimeter. He was dropping bombs on them. Like it was crazy.
And yet they still needed Thor to handle it. He has never been the single reason for a victory, but he was the single reason that Team Stark lost the Germany fight because a polished fighter pilot didn't keep an eye on his six and got shot down.
But is it his fault though? I don't think it is. You know whose fault it is?
Tony's.
It's Black Widow's.
I don't think it's Black Widow's.
Black Widow's that they truly lost because she was in the hangar. Cap and Bucky are right there. T'Challa was right behind them. She let them go
because she's on Team Cap.
Black Panther. I know. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm Team Cap 100% all day. Look at that stuff in the back. But once again, another hero aspect is, it's almost like a saving grace where it's like, oh, yeah, she did the right thing by helping, the character who I thought was right. But not a really good teammate. I think that's a really important quality of a hero as well, too, is a good teammate.
I think that character did what was right. She didn't want to beat up Clint. Vision yelled at her. She was not in any of that stuff. She answers to no government.
Dude, she beat the shit out of Clint in the first Avengers. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, no. She beat the shit out of a lot of people.
Yeah. But like I said, a lot of these characters, none of these characters I really dislike, but Black Widow is one that I really liked, but I picked up on a lot of things where it's like liar. That's a big no-no for a hero for me. But anyways, going on, you picked War Machine.
I feel like War Machine had those moments, and you asked for hack moments in this, and the biggest hack moment for me was in Iron Man 2 when he decided that he was going to use his little hammer pencil missile, and it just went.
That was pretty hacky.
That was a hack moment for me, and I think that my top 3 have some pretty good hack moments. So that's my 3. To match your Widow, which I'm sure that we'll continue to needle each other about.
I mean, for some of those hack moments, I feel like a lot of the hack moments for like Black Widow are all serious, but they're big letdowns. So that's one of my things. But anyways, moving on. So I've got, Drax, Ant-Man, Black Widow. The next one is, and you may know him by a different name, Star-Lord. Oh, God, Star-Lord.
He was on my list, didn't make my top 5 or my honorable mentions, but he was on my list.
Okay, so once again, I like the character. I think he's funny. In one of the best movies in the MCU with Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, but the dude is an overall hack. Okay, and the reasoning why is he's from Missouri. Okay, and no, actually, you know what? Yeah, all of the insults to those who are from Missouri. I had a bad experience in Missouri one time, treated very badly and very poorly, by the way. But anyways, um, Star Lord, good natured kid, doesn't want to hurt animals, beat up a couple of kids, or got into a fight because they were, um, I think, doing something bad to an animal. And so the biggest mistake that he did was the punch heard round the world. Iron Man, Spider Man, Doctor Strange, Drax, Mantis, they had won. But Quill just had to punch Thanos, not once, but multiple times, breaking Mantis's hold on Thanos and ruining it for everybody. That's the big one for me. Um, another one is he's just really lucky, and that's not a hero. A hero is not lucky. Um, Even his 12% of a plan wasn't really good, and really it was just luck. But not a good leader, not respected. So he's got a lot of things against him. Not respected, not exactly the most intelligent either. I mean, I think I could stop there, but hey, it's Star Lord.
I got nothing good to say about him. I think that, um, his most endearing trait is his playlists, and those are his mom's, not his.
Yeah, and some of those some of those songs. I mean, she's a weird lady, dude. She is a free bird spirit. Like some of them are just
Yeah,
questionable.
no, the first volume better than the second volume. I will agree with that.
I
But
Go ahead.
I think that there's certain areas again that that due to just his character as a person, he lost the ability to expand. He never used any of his celestial lineage powers. Like you didn't see any of that in fighting Thanos. He didn't develop them more,
Well,
or
he
wasn't
didn't
able to
have them
grab them.
when he fought Thanos, right? I mean, he didn't.
Did he have them when he held the Power Stone in the first movie?
Yes,
Just because Ego was alive?
correct.
I still I think that a lot of the points that you made about character resonated for me with that. So I don't disagree. I obviously have different rankings. My number two was very pivotal in an example that you made regarding Star Lord being the problem, but she wasn't the problem for me, or he
Okay.
wasn't the problem for me. She was the problem, and I'm going to go with Mantis, the
Okay.
most useless character ever, ever. I'm not
I don't
touching his head,
disagree.
but I'm still making physical contact, but I can't keep him. I put a planet to sleep, can't put a well secured guy getting punched in the face to sleep. I'm useless.
That's a good point. Like no one ever brings that up. Like she did put a whole planet to sleep,
Put a
and
planet to sleep,
Thanos.
couldn't keep Thanos snoozing for another millisecond.
Yeah,
It's like
that's
your
true.
boy wants to punch him. Like anybody who's ever held somebody back, ever been in a fight, it's just like, oh yeah, no, go ahead, punch him in the face. I got him. He's sleeping. You're fine. Like couldn't hook him up with a couple little punches here and there. Nothing.
I don't.
And in any other Guardians movie, she enabled Ego to to just do all kinds of terrible things, like killing Peter's mom with eternal cancer or celestial cancer.
Yeah, that was rough, huh? Actually, yeah, that's pretty. I mean, she was under Ego's, like, she was like a prisoner of Ego. So, I mean,
That's like
still
saying
not a
Peter
hero,
was a
but
prisoner of the Ravagers. Was he? He left his own. He just did his own thing.
yeah, true.
It's like saying
I have
Laserface
nothing.
was a prisoner.
I can't disagree with that pick. I just thought it was like an easy target. Like just, oh yeah, of course Mantis. Like that's how I kind of thought about it. But the thing is though is there was a few moments though that were somewhat noble of her. She could have just let them all fucking die, um, without warning Drax, but she did.
That's
She
why she's a
stuck with
hero.
them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't disagree, so I'm okay with that. All right, so I think we can agree with what this next pick is going to be for us.
Is it a group of people for you?
It is
Or
a
is it
group
a group of
minus one
things for you? Because they're not
thing.
people, they're
Well,
machines.
true. I didn't understand that.
It's a group
So
of machines.
yeah, the
The
our pick
Eternals.
is all of the Eternals.
All of them.
Um, you
Minus
know
one.
what?
Wait, which one do you want to minus?
Minus one is Icarus, and so I'm gonna go by your motto or your statement that you said earlier. Like number one, he's the strongest out of all of them. He's got the little laser beam eyes. He's like Superman, strong.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Eternal Superman. Got it.
yeah,
But he lied to everybody.
he did lie.
Liar.
I'm just saying I'm excluding him from that list because his powers were way better and he's way more powerful than the others. It took a whole team of them to hold him down. He was like the Thanos of the Eternals.
I feel like if
Which Thanos
Angelina
is an
Jolie,
Eternal.
feel like if Angelina Jolie didn't have Alzheimer's, it would have been tough to hold her down too.
That's
And
true.
if you didn't have like fake teeth Wong on that team, to be able to do the the sun's getting real low, like she would have killed all of them at the beginning of the movie.
So yeah, man. By the time this comes out and it's ever released, people are going to be like, "Yeah, this guy's totally racist."
Yeah, no,
But
yeah, it's bad. But I at the beginning of the movie, and it's because I watched it if on a projector on a ceiling. I'm like, why is Wong in this movie? But it was because at the beginning of it, it was only like side views, and you got to. I'm like, oh no, it's not Wong. It's Iron Fist. Wait, no, that's just because his power is exactly the same.
he was pretty cool. I liked him as a character.
He was the most. He was the most selfless of
Yeah.
all of them. Of all of them, but my wife agree. My wife's assessment of that movie was it was a cross between every worthwhile character to steal their powers of and the Power Rangers.
Dude, I think the Power Rangers might have been better, honestly.
No, I agree. I agree. It was just like, what other areas can we steal? She thought their outfits, the way they were cut, were like very Power Rangery, and I'm like, okay. So when they get in the ship, it's morphin time. Like, what's going on? What is this?
So what are some of the, and like I'm not a big fan of the Eternals, but what are some of the hack moments for you?
The beginning of the movie. That's not a knife. This is a knife. What? That's your like intro to humanity, is to upgrade a knife. That's what you got.
Well, yeah, but they were helping humanity evolve, grow, learn.
Also, pew pew, double guns, double guns. By far my favorite character in the movie because he took
cool.
full advantage. Took full advantage of living forever as his grandpa, his dad, him, the whole thing. Loved that. But pew pew. What?
Okay, so Kingo, get the name right, man.
Sorry. So I've watched it once and did not try and give it much mental space other
Fair
than,
enough.
wow, this is terrible. How it made like $400 million, there literally was no other movies out. That was it. It had to be the only reason.
I didn't even think it made that much, to be honest.
It did. That's worldwide. It made 400, like 462, I think, when I look at something like that. Some number where I'm like, well, at least they probably made money on it, but
yeah,
they probably had to pay all those actors a bunch to get like Angelina Jolie and two Starks and all those people.
I don't think they're in high demand, so I highly doubt that they were that much money.
Hmm.
And who knows, maybe so, like Angelina Jolie, we might have just had to donate to. Well, I won't even say because it makes me seem like heartless. I was gonna say something about like,
Orphans.
yeah, yeah.
That makes her a good person.
No, it
She
makes her
is
a good
much
person.
she is much of a better person than her character,
I was trying
who
to
just
say
wanted to kill everybody.
something. Yeah, I was trying to say something humorous, and then like nothing with orphans is really humorous. So I guess that's why I chose not to. But anyways, so yeah, that's it. The zeros. Anything that you think we missed on the zeros?
No,
There's there's one that I was thinking of, um, and it sucks because it happens to be one of my favorite characters, my absolute favorite character when I was younger, and that was Hulk. And
really.
yeah, no, and I didn't think that he wasn't a hero because he had like, I mean, he brought everyone back. Snap brought everybody back. It was awesome, but he was on my almost zero list because he was kind of like just a bad character overall. You know, not very dependable. You never knew what you were going to get with him until the very end, like the last movie. Even when in Infinity War, you didn't know what you were going to get with him in the Hulkbuster armor. Matter of fact, he fell flat on his face when charging into battle. And so, yeah, I think he got kind of like the raw deal. I really love Hulk as a character, and you read a lot of message boards saying like, yeah, Marvel did Hulk dirty on this, but which I agree. But if I think if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have loved some of the other characters, which we're going to talk about up next.
I'll tell you that I had a character that I didn't want to put on the list, but it was in my column. Was Tony, was Iron Man, was on my, was like before I was like, oh wait, there are so many worse people like Shang-Chi, uh, 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 but Iron Man was the cause of at least two Avenger level like conflict. It was all him.
Yeah,
So I think there's something to be said there. He was selfless in the end, right? Another snapper. But yeah, no, I had the same feeling. So the I think the bottoms list was not as easy as some people would think. I think that was a more challenging list. The top five list I think would be difficult because of just admiration and
yeah.
adoration,
Okay.
and making sure they all hit the same level of honorability, if you will.
Fair enough. I think I can totally agree with that. So should we just go right into the
Unless you have a
heroes?
commercial to read, we can go right into number five.
Okay. So it's funny enough that my number five is Iron Man. So Iron Man, for the exact reasons why he might not be a hero, I put him on there as a hero because just like any human being, we all make mistakes, some of them bigger than others, but it's how you handle those. And if you really rectify that situation, when all is said and done, if you're able to learn from that mistake, take care of it at the end, it's okay. You learn from it. Right. And so that's where I put Iron Man in at my five spot. Um, abilities. I mean, dude, the guy's super smart, kind of ridiculously smart, way better than Batman. Um, rich like Batman, um, probably is nailed way more chicks than Batman. But not to say that that's heroic, but an ability nonetheless. But when you take a look at some of like those hero moments, so the snap, obviously, dude sacrificed himself not just for the universe, but for the future, which is really, really important for me. Once again, us being parents, I think it's safe to say that we would probably sacrifice ourselves for the future of our children, right? So that was one of the big things, and not to mention he figured out time travel. All right, so that time heist wouldn't have happened without the time travel, which he rectified and figured out after doing the dishes. Like after a full day, did the dishes, figured out time travel. I mean, that's pretty damn heroic.
Jarvis did a lot that day. You're right. Jarvis did a lot.
Jarvis wasn't around. He didn't. He
Well,
didn't have Jarvis.
the computers that he used for all of those things did a lot of work. Just like Batman's crime computer does a lot of work.
Oh
I
man,
get it.
Batman sucks.
I
All
get it.
right, I know you're a Batman fan, but
I'm lukewarm on Batman. It's okay. It's okay.
okay,
Of all the DC characters, Batman's definitely in my top five, but I mean that's not saying much. Not
okay,
a lot
fair enough.
going
Yeah,
on
there's
there.
only like five really
Yeah.
cool characters in DC
Literally,
anyway.
literally, they're in a league
Yeah,
of extraordinary crap. Um,
yeah.
so my number five started the math on time travel. Didn't get to finish it because your boy came in, but mine is Banner. I
Okay.
separate Banner from Hulk because Banner is the one that makes heroic decisions, and Hulk is very self-serving, staying with the in Ragnarok or wherever the staying on. I forget the name of the planet right now. In Ragnarok, like just being the champion, chilling in a skull bed, eating good food, and I don't know if he was banging chicks, but probably, right? Wouldn't come out for the battles, wasn't doing much, all kinds of ancillary damage to buildings for no reason. Be nice. It's okay that you have to take the stairs. Don't hurt Tony Stark that you didn't know was there when you have to take the stairs. Cut it out, Hulk. But Banner took the risk of not isolating himself, got caught up in that thing because he was coming to help some little kid's parents in a third world country, trying to doctor him up, right? Took the risk of going on the helicarrier when he knew he could have hella killed all those people if Hulk got out. Eventually turned himself into Hulk permanently in the smart Hulk phase of the Endgame series, right? Of the Infinity War series, because he needed to be stronger and better and try and figure it out. And then eventually he snapped it out, man. He snapped him all back for snap number 3 in the 2 movies. So I think that he's a character that definitely stepped up. And when he wasn't Hulk fighting, he was still willing to, even knowing that he had no abilities as Banner, right? Clumsy as shit, still ready to jump in and contribute and be part of it. And be part of it.
Yeah, I like that pick. Um, I didn't even think about separating the two. Um, but let's be honest though, Ragnarok Hulk, the best Hulk, the best Hulk
I would
in the
agree.
MCU.
I'd agree.
Um, as cool as Ed Norton's Incredible Hulk was, yeah.
You're not an Eric Banya fan? No, that's not
Dude,
MCU.
no, no, no. I'm not even talking about that movie. I was so upset when I saw that movie. It was,
It was
yeah,
bad. It was
it
real
actually
bad.
probably made me less of a Hulk fan after I saw that movie. And
Mm,
I was like the biggest
mm.
Hulk fan.
You know what was still
Um,
worse than that? The Eternals. Do
no,
you want me to go on number 4 or do you want to go on
hold
number
on,
4?
hold on.
Oh, okay.
Eternals was not worse than Hulk. That movie was utter dog shit. The comic book panels, Hulk got hit in the, or he hit himself in the nuts when he was lifting up the tank. Like just ridiculous, clumsy, clumsy.
Where were the laughs in Eternals? Were there any jokes?
It was all from Kingo and his and I forget his like butler or assistant.
Yeah, his valet.
Ballet, awesome. God, such a
Yeah,
good character. I
yeah,
liked those jokes and the laughs and everything there.
yeah. But I mean, that was to offset the Alzheimer's and the genocide, all
Do
that.
you need to have humor in every MCU movie
I mean,
or thing?
Ragnarok was the best Hulk.
Absolutely, it was one of the best MCU movies. But do you before we go on to the next hero, do you need to have the humor in everyone?
I think that you have to have some kind of repartee. It's just kind of the character. It's the comic character mold. Is there has to be some sort of wit and that more of an Errol Flynnish hero as opposed to the more serious heroes.
But isn't that like the biggest critique with Marvel movies? Like, can you guys just be serious? Like, you guys are too jokey. And then they come out with a serious movie, and then people complain about that.
It's not for adults, it's for kids.
Let's be honest, a lot of the people watching these movies are
I never said
adults.
I was an adult, but I think that I think that it's just part of the universe. I mean, when you look at the origins of this, right? When you look at the comics, when they were writing this stuff, they didn't know that they would still have a job 6 months from now. They're like, we're literally making up superheroes and coloring pictures. This is amazing. Like, how can you be serious when like your boss says Excelsior on a regular basis?
Agreed.
Like it doesn't need to be all serious. It can be fun. And I think that brings a lightness. That's the whole point of comics or movies or anything is as an escape. If I want an experience, I'll watch like a sad movie.
All right, so I'm going to go to one of your zeros, and that is Shang-Chi. So the reasoning for this pick is so his ability, um, by far the best martial artist that the MCU has. In terms of any of the Avengers, any of the Guardians of the Galaxies, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Eternals, by far best martial artist than
Okay.
all of those. Okay, so that is one of the reasons as to why, because that is something that they lacked of to begin with. Uh, you know, Black Widow is pretty badass at martial arts, but at the same time, you can say that she's a trained killer. Well, so is Shang Chi. Um, killed a dragon with the rings. Okay, so that's I'll get there. Hold on. But I will say, like, the big reason why he makes my list of heroes is his character. That was a big thing as to why he edged out Black Widow, why he edged out Hawkeye for being a heroes, because fighting wise, he's better than them. Train killer wise, he's better than them. Character wise, he is far better than them. I think by the Hawkeye series, you could tell that Clint has some skeletons in the closet, and you could even tell that in Endgame because he went just psycho and decided to start slaughtering people and went complete, Ronin on everyone. And he flat out murdered people, flat out murdered people. They deserved it, I guess, but murderer nonetheless. Shang-Chi also murdered someone, but his character, like, after he did that, he went into exile, and he essentially just he turned his life around and went to live an immigrant life in the United States, which that in itself is heroic, all by that action. Um, but when you're trained as like a killer, and it was really like just hammered into your brain, trained day in day out as a killer, it's hard to shut that stuff off. It's even harder to shut it off, maintain the ability to kill and all of his skill and fight and everything, but still be a good natured guy, humble, respectful to other people's families. When he went into Katie's house, he was very respectful to the grandmother and the entire family. He took his shoes off, made sure he didn't sit in the wrong chair. Dude, like, respectful beyond everyone, like Black Widow, so respectful. And that is why he is one of my top heroes.
There's one famous Marvel phrase that keeps coming up in my head that completely zeroes him up for me. Great power comes great responsibility, and he dogged his responsibilities through all of the Avengers level threats that took out half of families across the world.
And I see where you're coming from with that. I get it. But keep in mind, he was trying to keep the killer at bay. He had already, like, what do you say, like, a monk is not a hero? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what he basically did. He's went into like a self-professed, you know, um, exile, or self-induced exile, so that way he didn't live up to those killer things in his brain that he was just hammered in on every single day.
So you're basically saying that killing is like alcoholism, and he just abstained the whole time. But now that he's fighting, Shang-Chi 2 is going to be Shang-Chi murder some fuckers. I'm totally down for that movie. I'm in. Like, by that logic, he's gonna take his red hooded sweatshirt and he's gonna go kill some people.
All right. So one of the coolest scenes and sets, or sequences of action in the entire MCU, the bus scene. Dude, he was sitting there minding his own, and he did not turn on the kick-ass switch until he absolutely had to. And he could have been like, I don't know any of these people on this bus, screw them. But no, other than breaking that lady's laptop, he saved every single person on that bus. And yeah, I just think that's just too much to look past.
I'm looking right past it, looking far past it, looking all the way past it. Not even the best bus scene in the MCU. I believe that my number 4 has the best bus scene in the MCU. And that would be Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel. If we're just going to go based on bus scenes, I think the Stan Lee cameo and the addition of Kevin Smith to the MCU because he was reading the script of Mallrats does enough for me to be the. And did you see her punch that old lady in the face?
That was awesome.
That was amazing. That was amazing. You know what wasn't hard to find on Shang-Chi's bus? The bad guys. On that bus, very difficult. Very difficult. But Carol
why
found
was it difficult, Mark?
Because she was disguised. She was a Skrull.
Wait, hold on. You said it wasn't hard to find, but
on Shang-Chi's bus, the guy had a knife arm. It was not hard to figure out that he was a bad guy. He was too busy cutting the bus in half.
That doesn't mean it's less of a. I mean, come on.
He waited till the last minute to act. Who knows? Shang-Chi could have been on the Carol Danvers bus, sitting next to the old lady and doing nothing. Doing nothing.
Okay. I do like that pick, though. Captain Marvel was actually one of my picks. I took her off, though, so she's not on my list. But yeah, man, continue on with.
I think that Captain Marvel, regardless of when, always sticking up for the little guy, always breaking barriers as a female test pilot, moving into that, really trying to contribute as a person, like trying to be like a figurehead. Would have been heroic without the powers, would have been somebody to look up to from a genuine perspective, and then gets these powers, loses her memory. Get that. She thinks when she's fighting against the Skrulls that the Skrulls are bad because that's all she's been told. Then, as a hero, she figures out, wait, no, this is wrong. And she changes it up. She changes the colors. She still fights for the little guy. And as I know she's number 4, but she definitely the biggest territory of all heroes too. Taking care of all of space, still coming back to support Fury after the fact, still picking up Peter Parker and taking him through as much as she can. And talk about taking out Thanos' ship and shutting Ronan down and all that. She just when they're raining fire and they're like, wait, no, turn it that way. Shit.
Yeah, that was
Definitely.
pretty badass.
That
A lot
that
of
is
people, yeah, they kind of give that shit and like, oh, like Captain Marvel, why is they're making her bigger than she really needs to be or than she should be, but I'm okay with it. I actually like Brie Larson as Carol Danvers. I like her spunk and just the way that she plays the character. It's playful. It's fun.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
okay, so yeah, I totally agree with that pick. Totally agree with that pick. I'm gonna change it up. Why don't you do your next pick?
Okay. My number 3 is another selfless hero um, that gave her life for the benefit of, I would say, her best friend's family at that point, because she didn't have a family. She had a covert operating team that she lived with for a year and a half.
Yet
That's what she had.
she still referred to her as a sister. And okay, so maybe she correct me if I'm wrong. She did refer to her as her sister, right? Like Black Widow actually called Yelena her sister at some point.
She spoke well of Yelena to Clint.
Yeah.
She told him all
So,
about her.
and yet she never went to go find her.
She did eventually.
How many years later?
Yelena was doing her own thing. She was respecting her game. She didn't have the ability to take down the widows. Look, all it took for her to be able to do that. And she took the time to do it when she could have just been chilling in hiding. She could have said, oh, this letter got out. I don't need to go figure that out. Why? But you know what she did? She took down the largest spy operation in the world because S.H.I.E.L.D. was already taken down, basically single handedly. She convinced all those people to turn on their leader and took him out. And that's not even her biggest give. Sure, she doesn't want to tell Cap who her dad was because it's kind of embarrassing. That
So
guy is embarrassing.
he is embarrassing. Hilarious,
Mm-hmm.
but embarrassing. But a liar. So you're telling me that it's okay on your list of heroes to have a liar.
I would say that her ability to her choice to leave the evil Axis powers of spying and only work for Shield and become one of the most. She left the widows, right, and came to play for the good guys.
You know
Everybody's got a
that
pass.
Shields, a lot of their missions were still operating as Hydra, right?
She didn't know that.
Right, but
She didn't know that until she went into a basement with
a
Captain America.
soldier's just doing what a soldier does,
Mm.
and so that's my
I mean,
my
if you want to
issue.
get into how many felonies Captain America committed in trying to register to be a soldier, then we could talk about that, right? What's worse, telling a fib about your past or a felony?
But it wasn't just about the past; it was continued on. Like it just she couldn't stop. It was almost pathological, Mark. She couldn't figure out what was a lie and what was the truth because she kept on going with those lies.
Fury knew.
Did he though? I don't know if he knew everything.
Oh, he knew. Fury
Maybe.
helped her defect. And those lies actually in a Captain America movie came out when she posted everything from the Shield computers onto the internet.
Right. And so all of those awful things that she did, just like Barton did, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if that is would my be my on my hero list. Just saying.
I'm just saying, if it wasn't for her sacrifice, Barton's kids would have been orphans. Um, and in general, like, she turned him around back into a hero. She gave him a reason to live again. And now he's raising the next generation of Hawkeyes and getting them going again. And just the leadership it took once Fury evaporated in the blip to own and lead the Avengers. You know who wasn't the leader? Captain America. Not so much. He was too busy doing counseling sessions at the YMCA while she had everybody online, everybody getting their shit done, and she took the general spot, not Cap. Black Widow
Let's be
led
clear though,
Shield.
they were not the Avengers.
Why? I guess they're the Revengers, not the Prevengers, but either way, they were the Avengers.
I don't know, man. Like I'm curious as if people thought that the Avengers were still there because they had lost. And I guess all of the Avengers were all still alive, but at the same time, it's just like hmm, Iron Man wasn't there anymore,
I understand that. That's why he's not on my hero list. He quit like a bitch.
but he came back when it counted.
Counted 5 years later. That's what I counted. 5 years. It's a lot of days.
It's
While
true.
Black Widow was leading the rest of the Avengers.
What was left of the heroes, I wouldn't say. I'd still disagree that they would be considered the Avengers. But all right, I'm gonna go on with my pick.
What's your three?
This my three was a toss up between my three and my two, but it was what it all came down to. It was the grand scale of things, and that led to Black Panther. So he is my number three. Black Panther. So his ability, not great, right? Like he's Captain America. He's black. He's Captain Wakanda, if anything. So that's one thing. So like he has the strength, he has the speed, battle tactician, excellent hand-to-hand fighter, um, badass suit and resources, right? Without a doubt. Um, very intelligent himself. And I would probably say, like, I don't think he was ever afraid. Like he was fearless, genuinely fearless. I can't even recall if there was a point where he was like scared about anything. Like you can
Maybe when he
see that,
got thrown to the bottom of a waterfall.
that after the facts.
Hmm.
Like he was still willing to die in that fight. But the big thing for me was his hero moments. He didn't kill, and this hero and character, that's kind of the same thing. But he did not kill the man responsible for his father's murder. All right, and so I don't think a lot of people can do that. If a lot of people knew that they had that information, they themselves would become murderers. And he had all of the strength, all the resources, and opportunity to do so, but he decided to let Zemo. They turn him into justice.
We
He
would have got the
prevented.
Zemo dance.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. But so that's a big thing for me. Like that's super heroic, and it's the right thing to do. I don't know if I could do that honestly, but he also. So this is where it gets kind of comical, but because I love these characters, um, he took in a wanted fugitive because it was the right thing to do. Right. So Bucky, he took him in after the whole Civil War thing, after he thought that he killed his father. He took him in and used all of his resources to undo the brainwashing from Hydra from all those years. That's pretty big, man. Like for people that he had just met, and pretty selfless. And he could see the good in Barnes and the fact that he was truly sorry for what he did, and he felt bad. But also, dude, the biggest thing for me is he told the Avengers it was okay for them to come to his house for the end of the world party. Right? So like Cap calls him on his flip phone, dials extra long distance to Wakanda, and says, T'Challa, I've got this problem. We're really screwed. Can we come over? Yeah, come on over. Bring your friends. This isn't my fight, but bring your friends. And he did that. And even his own general was saying like, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, like we should have opened up a Starbucks. But he also like another thing too is like he in that final battle, uh, the relay run where he took the glove from Clint was pretty badass. Um, he told Clint he didn't care what his name was, and he remembered his name. Nice thing. Kind of what heroes do. Just do like I pay attention. I remembered your name, and he did the little run. But he also like knew that his father, the previous king, was wrong in how he kind of covered stuff up, and kind of blackballed his own family, and instead of taking ownership of how they messed up, he could have rectified it all. I mean, he murdered his own brother, and so, like it takes a lot for a son to realize like, Dad, you messed up, and I'm not gonna do what you do. And so adding into the whole good guy appeal of like why he's so likable, and out of the character breaking the fourth wall, dude, it takes a superhero to be suffering from cancer, not complaining about it, doing all the filming, and still, put in a stellar performance. So Chadwick Boseman, R.I.P. You are the true superhero and still an inspiration. So that is my pick.
All
Black
of
Panther.
that, and you still have him at number 3. All of that, and you still have him at number 3. I, on the other hand, am a much more giving person, and I put T'Challa at number 2 for all of the reasons that you've already articulated. He led a nation after his father's death, didn't go to war, could have easily taken over the world with all of the Wakandan
Yeah,
technology, and all he did was protect it. Protected it from the technology that left Wakanda, from the people who stole the vibranium, all of the things. Cap lost one shield, he gave him back 2. I mean,
not
that's just
exactly a shield though, right? I mean, let's
mm,
let's get that clear. It
mm.
it looked cool, but
What
I don't
is a
know, man.
shield?
Not
A shield
kitten
blocks things.
mittens. That's
A
what
shield
those were.
blocks.
Like
If I threw something at you, you could block it with that. It's blockable.
it's blockable, but those were
They're,
kitten mittens, dude.
I
Like,
mean, either
like
way,
stay
either
back.
way, either way, either way, he's a giver. He's a giver.
Yes, I agree.
The Wakanda strategy, or was it, the Science Institute on the site of his uncle's death. He didn't even kill Killmonger,
Very
and
true.
then even when he was abducted in What If, he got Thanos to be a Ravager and
Very
was
true.
still a good guy.
Yes.
So yeah, no, absolutely. My number 2 is Black Panther for so many reasons.
And so I had a tough time with this one on my three and number two, but and I might regret making this pick, but my number two was Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
So this is my whole reasoning for him being a bigger hero than Black Panther. So the guy was this pompous, arrogant, rich doctor, very materialistic, and gets into a car accident, gets his hands crushed, and yeah, like just spends all of his money to try and get better so he can do the craft that he knew he was good at, that he loved, that he found excitement from, right? Penniless, scrounges up a few bucks to go to Kamertage because he hears about a way that he can heal his hands. But my thing for Strange is like his actual journey, right? So like he not only suffered horrific physical pain, but he learns on his way that he's also an excellent student in the mystic arts. Um, so put another feather in his cap. But he just learned very quickly, and his talents. I mean, I guess he just caught up really quick, and he really took he took it to heart with what the Ancient One had to teach him, even though the Ancient One herself wasn't 100% truthful of her motivation and her powers, right? But for him, the big thing that really made it heroic for me and put it on a grander scale compared to Black Panther is he suffered countless deaths with I'm sorry, Dormammu, not Mephisto. Countless painful deaths with Dormammu. Dormammu, I came to bargain. Boom, cuts him down. And I think there's somewhere on the internet where they talk about it. It's like it's hundreds of years or maybe even thousands of years that happened. And dude, that is like that's crazy that you can endure that much. If that's not heroic, I don't know what is. You know, for the good of all of universe, like that's pretty spectacular. Um, Ability, you know, his magic and mysticism is pretty damn cool. That's a pretty damn good power, and he himself he probably, you know, he gave Thanos a run for his money. He used all of his, you know, like a good portion of spells to really put up a good fight against Thanos. And so that was really awesome. Stood toe to toe with Thanos, which was really awesome. But sacrificed himself knowing, but not knowing that the snap had to occur with him along with half of the universe being gone. Right. So think about it that way. It's like, I know this is the way, but he got over his ego that he didn't have to be there for the resolution to happen. He saw the 14,605 ways and endings of everything, and he knew that, oh, this kind of sucks. Even though I'm gone, and half the universe disappears, this is the right way to go. And so he picked the right path. And I think it's just, you know, without him and Wong bringing all of the Ravagers, Avengers, Wakandans, everyone together, that led to the epic battle at the end. And he even took himself out of the battle to make sure that like the entire army didn't drown because of the little tidal wave that was coming.
I don't know. I put Strange as pretty inept. Not only did he cause the multiverse situation that is now driving Marvel, right? But you mentioned the Dormammu thing, and he trapped Dormammu in the dark dimension, all that. What stopped him from doing that with Thanos? Other than, oh, I didn't think about it. Sorry. Oops. Could have put all those people right in the dark dimension. Didn't do it. Didn't use any of
At,
the protective pieces that he was taught in the first movie of the flippy, foldy things. Could have
the
put them
mirror
in there.
dimension,
The mirror dimension. Didn't use it. Not once on any of Thanos's people.
would it
Didn't
have
do it.
worked against Thanos though? He had like was it four of the stones at that point, and he had the power stone and the ether as well too.
I mean, I've got to think that he had the time stone and he could have done the exact same thing he did with Dormammu and created a time loop.
He had the time stone and saw 14,605 different ways, and he didn't do it. So maybe that was one of
Because
the
in
ways to
all
do
of those 14 million ways, he didn't think of using the dark dimension and the mirror dimension to trap him.
I don't. But well, using the dark dimension is kind of like frowned upon, right? Like, so he kind of realized for Mordo that that's kind of the unhero thing. It's kind of messed up that people do that they pull power from the dark dimension.
He could have just put Thanos in the dark dimension. I'm just saying that, I mean, he's the reason that my number three's dead. It's because he couldn't do a good enough job just taking out Thanos himself.
Okay,
I mean, look
fair
at
enough.
how he cut off Homeboy's hand using a portal. Couldn't have done that to Thanos and got the Infinity Gauntlet off of him.
Everyone says that, and then you bring up the whole Ant-Man, you know, going up Thanos's butt and then
I mean,
expanding.
I'm just saying, if everyone thinks of it and it's not anally involved, he couldn't just do it. No, he's kind of scatterbrained. He's all over the place. He couldn't concentrate on one spell to help out Lil Petey.
But did he save the universe more than once. How
It,
how many of the
so did Ant-Man.
Avengers? The universe? When did Ant-Man save the universe?
Time Heist.
Oh, once.
Was it? What? Oh no, maybe once. Maybe just once.
Once.
Maybe just once.
Strange.
Stark saved the universe. Did it twice, didn't he?
He didn't save the universe. Um, he saved New York, but not the universe. That's dude. The universe is.
Did your number one save the universe twice, or even once?
Assisted? Yes.
Well, he assisted, but he didn't do it twice. He assisted
Wow.
once.
Okay,
He
and you know what?
assisted
I
as
take that
many
back.
times as Ant-Man.
Well, actually, no. Okay. Do you want to go to number one?
I think we both have the same number one.
Is it like clearly evident?
It's
Like
yeah,
by
it's
my
totally Cap. It's totally
okay,
Cap. Yeah.
Captain America. We agree. So let's just have fun talking about this then, because like I think we can make the. Let's talk about the whole saving the universe thing right now. So without him and his leadership in the time heist, I mean that's pretty accurate. That like without getting the additional stones and his fight with himself, yeah, I think that's saving the universe. That's once, right? Battle and not and okay, so going back and putting the stones back to where they're supposed to be. I think that's saving like that's 6 stones. And so save the universe 6 times.
It is the hero's journey. It is true.
So like I mean, would you say though that it's also saving their universe in that timeline, individual like that's 6 times. So really he saved it like 7 times.
You don't know that it's saving it from destruction. It's removing the variance. He's removing the occurrence of variance, which
Which
we've
what
found
happens with
can
those
be
variants,
undone by other people instead.
but they get clipped.
Mm-hmm.
So he really did save those universes, right?
From a certain point of view.
Yeah. I mean, hey man, he's my number one, so like
He's
I'm
my
gonna
number
take
one
that point of
too.
view.
I look at it as a hero to me has to be selfless across the board, continuously selfless. And it, Cap is selfless from the little guy perspective all the way to the big guy perspective. Gave respect across the board to everybody. Did not have one like selfish moment other than when he committed multiple felonies trying to register for the armed services after being denied
Multiple.
under
I love that.
false information.
Okay.
But I mean, even that is a gesture of just wanting to join the fight, right? Because he thought he could do it all day at that point. Later on, definitely could do it all day. But in general, yeah, definitely my number one. Pass the baton to the right people. Just worked to make things right. And was a shining example and more of as good of a hero as it was a symbol.
Yeah. So kind of going in just like his sequence, right? You kind of talked about it, and I've got the same notes here. Like World War II veteran. I mean, come on, man. Like
Greatest generation.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Uh, self-sacrificing. There were bombs on board. Bombs on board. And why couldn't he just jump out of the plane? Like there's that little deleted scene where War Machine gives him shit. Like, you know what? F you, War Machine, because he did what he felt like he needed to do. Um, but one of the cool things that it's been a while since I've watched the first Avenger, but um, he went back for his buddy, his best friend, his Bucky. Uh, and this kind of is a little bit of a plot hole because no time did I see Captain America, go into intensive combat training, but yet miraculously he came really, really good with guns and could fight.
He's from
So
Brooklyn.
he is from Brooklyn, but I guess that's I'm willing to oversee that. But he literally just he went back for casualties of war as deemed by like the army. It's like, hey, that's the price, and it's like, nope, sorry, can't do it. I gotta go save those guys. And I mean, arguably, maybe Peggy Carter should be on this list because she had multiple hero moments. But um, what else? I mean, like he fought for freedom and liberty of the country in Winter Soldier, which who the hell does that? I mean, no one does that anymore. We need a
Black
Captain
Widow.
America. Black Widow helped back him up, yes. I don't know if she was really fighting for the same cause as he was.
She was
Do you
on his
think
left. She was on his left.
Sam was on his left? I don't know. I think hmm, I don't know. But Civil War fought for his best friend, and this is a cheesy moment, but it's still a very cool moment. But the bicep porn with the helicopter, where he's like just flexing his arm, and he's got his arm, one of the coolest shots in the MCU.
It definitely is.
And Chris Evans actually hurt himself by doing that, which is the funny thing. He flexed too hard and like tore his bicep or something. Um, can we also mention like he was worthy and he could pick up the hammer of a god?
I think the best conversation around that is the humility with which he didn't pick it up at the party. He just said,
Yeah.
"Oh no, dude, no, can't do it."
So you're of that train of thought that he could pick it up but didn't.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's because I've heard that theory. I like that theory, but then there's also the theory like, oh, he wasn't worthy because he was holding the secret from Stark that he knew that his parents died because of Bucky.
Mm. I think that if he would have picked up if he would have picked up the hammer, then Thor would have had a breakdown and it would have just been sad.
Yeah,
It would have
yeah.
just been real sad. And that's where you lose it. He knew that Thor would have gone into fat Thor mode and they weren't ready for that yet. They weren't ready
Would
for
you
that.
would you say his abilities are just as impressive, or is it really more so just the fact that he's just a good guy?
I think that the character over abilities. The lack of aging and all that is a benefit, but I mean, you saw old Cap still be just as much of a leader as young Cap.
So some of the things that I kind of really liked and enjoyed about him is like just the sheer athleticism and abilities of him being able to fight different characters. So like when he fought Batroc in Winter Soldier, the multiple Shatari that he fought in Avengers. But dude, something that goes unappreciated is his geometry skills. The fact that he can throw that shield off of multiple
There's got to
things.
be a magnetic cuff going on somewhere there. Let's be honest.
He had the magnetic cuff in Ultron, right? So like you could see it like a little zzz, and then it went back to his arm. But every other movie, he didn't have that. It was all just the strap. But in the comics, which we aren't talking about the comics, but in the comics, his brain can basically just process all of the possible angles because he's that much of a enhanced human that he can throw it at all different angles and he'll know what he can hit it off of and all that stuff. But in the
I think
MCU, even Spider-Man makes a comment of it. This thing doesn't obey the laws of physics at all, whatsoever. But yeah, it's just kind of funny, like just unappreciated. And when Sam and Bucky were playing around with the shields and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like no one threw it with quite as much zing as Steve did.
No,
So
I agree. I agree. It's a great. He's also a great symbol.
yeah,
The leadership for me, it gets it right. Without that level of commitment, I don't know how much success there is to bring everybody together. Yeah,
an
definitely.
indomitable will for sure. But
There
do
you
you
go.
think he was really that much of a leader? Like I love the fact that he was that in the comics and everything, but he almost wasn't like that. Like I'm almost a little pissed that they didn't make him as much of a leader in the MCU. I mean, you said yourself that Black Widow was kind of the leader of the Avengers, which they weren't the Avengers, let's be honest.
I think that he stepped aside when his leadership lost the battle. I think that he was wounded just, in the same manner. And when there's not a team to lead, there was a team to lead, but I think that that's what made him step aside is as he led, everyone lost,
Yeah,
and he couldn't do it. So that's, you know, a good leader also knows when their time has passed, and I need to hand this mantle over a little bit.
very
Um,
true.
he picks it back up when he sees that there's an opportunity, and really runs with it. So I think that that was great. But I think that there's also, knowing when it's your time and no, it's not. I think that he's a respected leader early when all of the Howling Commandos follow him, and those are, the baddest dudes that got captured. Um, but he puts together these plans, formulates everything, and makes it going. And he yells at you for using bad language.
True.
He is
Very true. He
kid
would not
friendly.
be happy with us on this episode.
No,
I think we
no,
dropped quite a few.
he'd be really fucking pissed.
um, yeah, I think that's pretty awesome overall. Is there any after kind of talking over our zeros and our heroes? Is there anything that you think that you forgot about or forgot to mention, or any other honorable mentions for the heroes?
I was back and forth on five between Falcon and Banner,
Mm,
but I think that Banner as a singularity puts it past Sam. I think Sam with continued achievement can get to that level, but the snap gets you past. That's it.
so I had and I said it earlier because you were talking about Pepper. Pepper was actually going to be like my number five. The reasoning as to why is because she is someone who worked in an office, uh, an assistant, a highly paid assistant, and then became a CEO of a company. You know, really,
For
I
like
would say
5 minutes.
it's well, no, she ran Stark Enterprises. Like he he stepped down. She ran the company.
And then she told him at the end of the movie he's got to take it back, and he did.
I don't remember that. Really? I think
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
incorrect on that.
I think that they leave a lot of Pepper things out there in the wind, like when she was all glowy and
They
and
took care of
really,
that. They took care of that at the end of Iron Man 3.
did they? Did they do
Yeah.
that off
And then same
screen?
thing with the Iron Man arc reactor. Like they took that shrapnel out of his chest. They fixed Pepper. I don't know how, but they must have low key took her to Wakanda before they knew it existed.
Yeah, no,
But
they left her on a roof overnight, and she was fine.
yeah. But well, think about it this way, dude. So like a true story of a successful woman in a male dominated industry or even just male dominated
Yeah,
world,
no,
right?
that Carol Danvers had nothing to do with that in that arena at all. Not even close.
But I will say this is where she would differ from Danvers is that it's not like she may have done like hot yoga and booty like burn booty camp or whatever. What did Happy say to Black Widow?
Booty
Like
boot camp.
booty boot camp. That's what it was. And so Pepper shows up to the final battle where the world is like, it's do or die. And she shows up in armor with mean mugging, ready to go. Now, granted, if you see some of those clips from the internet or like those clips of where she's just shooting into nothing but air, she isn't hitting anything. But hey, man, she was rocking that suit. And so I give her respect for that. but she's a complete civilian, never any combat training. Like, like she's never gone into a firefight, with the exception of that unrealistic Iron Man 3 sequence, which was pretty badass. I liked it because I like,
I
her
I
being a
would
badass.
disagree. I'm going to disagree because she was the CEO and a major contributor to one of the largest defense contractors in the world. And you have to learn technology, data, tactics to be able to run that production. I guarantee she learned a lot about that.
Okay, but we never saw
Guaranteed.
it. We can
No,
only go by what we saw.
we never saw how she got healed from the glowy thing.
She was on a medical like procedure table or emergency room or
While she
something.
was doing that, she had a Art of War audio book going in her ears too. All right,
But
we just agree to disagree.
well, here's some. I'll end it on this. So one of the heroic things is allowing Tony to figure out time travel, knowing that he's not going to be able to do like he's not going to be able to function unless he figures out time travel. And being a good wife, which in some cases is like very heroic, she said, if there's a chance, if this, you're not going to be able to rest unless you do this. So he goes, figures out time travel. In the battle, he sacrifices himself, and then she says, it's okay, you can rest. And then he goes.
You could
She
say
doesn't
that.
shed a tear until he goes.
You could say that she set him up to get one of the biggest inheritances in MCU history.
She wasn't she going to get that anyways? She was the CEO, man. Like she,
Oh, that's generational Stark wealth.
yeah. But oh
Can
man,
you imagine how much Bitcoin that guy had?
true, true. He probably had his own crypto though.
I mean, she does now.
But yeah, so that would have been my only case for a an honorable mention for Pepper Potts. But that's it, man. Anything else that you would like to add?
No, I think that we went through a lot. I'm not surprised at the general alignment of our major picks, but am shocked at some of the disalignment of the ancillary picks. Black
Yeah,
Widow was a bad hero.
yeah, man. Well, it is what it is. I'm sticking to it. There were some picks that I thought were low hanging fruit, so I decided to reach a little bit higher.
I mean, you know, I still can't get past the Eternals. It was such a bad movie. It is so bad. It is so bad.
Perhaps, but perhaps another day.
Mhm.
But we did some pretty good time on this. I feel like we could keep the conversation going because I can like literally do this all day. Um, just talk about Cap for the most part. But yeah, man, I think this was a lot of fun. And anything you want to say to the viewers before we sign off?
Um, Click like and subscribe. Uh, apparently, so we can keep doing these, and any feedback is appreciated feedback.
Absolutely. We enjoy doing this, and we thank everyone for tuning in, listening, and perhaps this will spark some debate amongst yourselves, and you could watch these movies again and think of it from a different point of view. But until next time, when we will talk about another topic, this is Dan.
And Mark.
We'll see you next time.